let's get to it. So today I want to talk to you guys about the story of Ruth. And the story of Ruth, I'm going to paraphrase and I'm going to read some scripture. So Ruth was a woman, a daughter in law of Naomi. Naomi had a husband. Her husband passed away, but between Naomi and her husband they had two sons, and those two sons got married. One of them got married to Ruth, and the other one got married to another lady. And the husband died, and so now it's the mother-in-law, the daughters-in-law with the sons. And time passed, and the sons passed away. So when the sons passed away, it is a custom that if there were more children, more male children, that they would marry the next in line. But in this case, there was no husband for Naomi to have another son, and she was too old to even marry to have more sons, because again, it's a custom that they marry the next male in line. But Naomi was too she was too old for that. And so Naomi got the girls together, her both daughters-in-laws, and told them, I said, listen, you guys are free to go back to where your town is. I'm going to go back to my town, and you guys go over to your town. And they didn't like it. They didn't like it, especially Ruth. And so Ruth was determined to stay with her mother-in-law and to be with her. And after Naomi couldn't argue or change her mind, um, she couldn't do anything but just, okay, let's then stay. But Ruth said, entreat me to not leave you, or to turn back from following you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and I, you and me. So, every time I read stories like this, it reminds me of the type of people that we have in our lives. Our, I'm sure Naomi and her husband, they were uh, they were wealthy people. I'm not sure, but whether they were or not, um, they received help from an outsider. When I mean an outsider, not their same people, not their relative, nothing like that. Ruth had all the right to leave Naomi and go get herself another husband. She had all the right from from God's perspective, from everybody. But um, she stayed. She chose to stay. Now, how many of us do we have family members that don't stay? How many of us have family members that in the first um, sign of struggles, they just leave. They're not there. You know, so many stories. I heard the other story about this um, person, a mom, that lived in a little small town. And she would always cook, do lots of meals for, and invited all the town to come and eat. She wasn't rich. She just enjoyed cooking and enjoyed feeding her neighbors. And one day she had an abundance of food, and she told her son, I said, hey, please tell everybody to come over and have dinner with us. And he was like, what, like why? And so he went out, and instead of telling their neighbors that the food is ready to come over, He told them that the house was on fire and his mom needed help. And most of them said, "We're there. I'm on my way to help." Well, he made it back home and nobody showed up. And his mom asked him what happened. And he said, "Mom, I told everybody that the house was on fire because you're always there for them, but nobody's there for you. Nobody is there for you." And I told him that the house was on fire, and everybody said that they were coming to help. Nobody showed up. Nobody. So Ruth, good times and bad times. She even says it right there. If anything but death parts you and me. So she was going to stay with her mother in law through thick and thin. Maybe Naomi was amazing mother in law for Ruth and Orpah, which was the other daughter in law. And, you know, when we have the right to do the right thing and we don't do it, what kind of friend are we? Are we a Ruth? Or we are an Orpah? I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. When the first signs of trouble, you leave. When the first signs of problems that you don't want to be involved, or you want a better opportunity, you're going to leave your family behind. But Ruth didn't. She stayed to help. Eventually, God blessed Ruth with another husband by a gentleman named of Moab. No, Boaz. I think Moab was the town. Boaz. So Boaz was Ruth's new husband. It's only 3 chapters, and I really hope and pray that you guys will read it. It's a beautiful story. It's 4 chapters, sorry. It's 4 chapters. But it's just a beautiful story. I think Ruth really represents what integrity looks like, what love looks like, what support looks like, what love is, and what being there for those that matter to you looks like. Because this is just, I mean, she stayed with her. She stayed with her. And we should learn from her, from Ruth, that we should always be there when we say that we are. It says it right there again. I'm repeating myself. If anything but death parts you and me. I want to be in a relationship where there's a Ruth in my life, and I want to be, somebody's Ruth. I mean, through thick and thin. It's good to be somebody like Ruth. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys learned from this. Are you going to be a Ruth to somebody? Are you going to appreciate the Ruth in your life? Because if you have a Ruth in your life, one last point right here where it says, when she saw that she was determined to go with her. So this is Naomi looking at Ruth. She stopped speaking to her. It wasn't a silent treatment. It was a okay. There's like no point of arguing to somebody that's adamant to stay and be with you. She just said, okay. And I'm sure she was grateful. But nevertheless, sometimes if we have somebody like Ruth in our lives, or we are somebody's Ruth, sometimes arguing is not going to get anywhere. Trying to convince them is not going to get anywhere. Nobody. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys like this teaching for today. If there's anything you guys want to learn more about, please leave it in the comments. And thank you, and make it a great day.